Okay, my last question before you question each other is going to be about some of the mayor's cuts. I'd like you to particularly talk about his cuts in some of the services that used to be free for senior citizens, but feel free to squeeze in any other cuts that you either want to approve of or disapprove of. And Tony, let's start with you.
Thank you, Grant. As far as the snow plowing issue, that's a big key issue in our city. The seniors had these programs put in place many years ago. Many of them were meant to be, of course, free for the people because of the fact that we had a Ford plant with 16,000 workers, a lot of taxation dollars coming in. We'd like to continue to do some of these things for these seniors in the city as far as the programs for grass cutting and snow plowing. The mayor cut those programs, and during the March 31st budget, we went ahead and made the decision on council, as my opponent continues to say about me moving money around. We moved money around, yes, because there was money here. We had to take it from this and move it to there. We took $80,000 and put it into place for snow plowing and grass cutting program for the seniors because we wanted it back. We thought it was important. The mayor did not bring it back immediately. Now we have a piece of legislation in place for the snow plowing, which will be, now it's passed, for helpful them during the times they need it. And it's been changed around a little bit. As far as services for the people, when it gets down to the service department, he cut 9 to 14 people at one point, and we disagreed with that. We took and moved some money again and put it back to where we could get a few people hired back. He did not do that, but we asked him to do that a number of times when it was stated that there was not enough people to do the work in the city. And at this point in time, again, I disagree with closing some of the services or shutting them down. That has been happening, but we're trying to bring them back, and we've been discussing that throughout the last few months.
Jim?
The snow plowing, as it's being discussed through council this past month, is a rather interesting watch. Because what the finance director and the mayor both agree is that the snow plowing that they did in 2013 and 2014, that winter season, cost the city $72,000. And they identified that there were about 1,000 people in the program, and there were 12 events that they had to go out and plow. So there was 12,000 times, 12,000 driveways that they plowed, and it cost them $72,000. That's $6 a driveway each time they did it. Now, what council's doing and what the mayor's doing is they're going to say, we're going to bring in private contractors to do this. We're going to do you seniors a favor. The mayor has identified it's going to cost the city anywhere between $250,000 to $300,000 to get that done. So we went from a $6 a driveway to $20 to $25 a driveway. What we've done is we've told the seniors, look, you didn't vote for our tax increase, so now we're going to make you pay for it this way. And council's saying we're doing you a favor. That's not the right thing to do. The right thing to do, as I said at the very beginning, is the city can do it cheaper, the city can do it better. The city needs to be doing those things. Having the people to do the services, that's what the government is supposed to be for. This administration is constantly saying we have to do things differently. And if he wants to do them differently, that's one thing. But the problem is, the different part of it that council is going along with is he's making the people pay for it doing differently.
Tony?
As far as the $72,000 goes, that's correct. $6,000 we're talking about at that time, times the 12 pushes. And the real reality is that the mayor, again, this is going to take longer than 90 seconds. We don't have that kind of time here to explain this thoroughly enough, is that it takes more people to do this job now because the mayor who runs the city cut back on the service department employees. Hence, it would take now, since he deployed them in other areas for other services, more hiring to bring them back, consequently now costing the city more because he's running the city that way. We're asking him to put it back the old way. He did not want to do it that way. He got rid of the people. He went ahead and said the program's gone, so now we have to come up with a new plan. If we came up with the old plan, he'd have to go ahead and hire more people, and then that would cost the city much more money than the $72,000. The $72,000 is being looked at as the cost, but it's really not truly that way if you're going to have to hire more people because he does not, according to him, have the personnel to do that. He'd be recreating a new one, and that's where it's at this point.
Okay, Jim?
Yeah, the $72,000 is the cost that was identified by the finance director. So when my opponent says it's not really that cost, well then what is the cost? The finance director should be telling us that. So we can only go with the numbers that the finance director tells us. When he says it costs $72,000, That's what it costs. To throw it out there now and say, well, the residents, the senior residents who are on a limited income are now going to have to come up with another $200 a year. It's just not a fair thing to do. It's a good example of a service. If you want to change the way the service is provided, well, then you have to look at everything and ask the questions along the way, not just sit there and say, well, we have to do something because the mayor's not doing it. That's where strong leadership comes in. That's where you need to have some more meetings, some more public hearings, and tell the people the story, tell them the full story, not just a partial story. Thank you.
Okay, Tony?
Again, I'll just have to reiterate, the mayor went ahead and redeployed the people that were in the program for the snow plowing and laid others off. And at that point in time, it's going to have to be where he hires more people to do that program if we initiated the way it was. And at this point, if there's private snow contractors, the residents are not going to pay $200, $250. The program is going to be based on and I don't want to say this in the sense of a voucher, but for a lack of a term at this point, till we figure out, we're going to give the residents money towards the snow plowing that would be offsetting the cost for them. So they would not pay the $200, $250. It's going to be divided into different areas where the people will come in, they'll do a bid program on it, and then at that point in time, we're going to try to get the best bid we could, of course, because it's always lowest their best bid. And the residents will not pay full price. It's not what it's intended to do. It is an assistance program, and they will be assisted.